It's obvious that you listen to this show to hear about and support other people's dreams. But what about yours? What is your dream project? I'm here to help you break through whatever is in the way of your dreams and get you to the finish line. Go to dreamingbigcoaching.com today and take the first step. Literally, it's a button you can click to sign up for a free consultation with me. Let's find out if I can help you reach your goal. Click on Take the First Step. It's that simple to start the rest of your life. Get coached by Rob Southgate at dreamingbigcoaching.com. Look, we're all nerds here. Todd Stashwick's Nerd Circus is a great place to pick up nerdy paraphernalia and groovy wares. How about some sweet lava lamp dice? Or maybe a funky 70s Rec Room Nerd Circus dice box? Does that do anything for you? Need a drink? What about the book Mystic Libations? Critical cocktails for the thirsty adventurer. Look, Todd Stashwick's Nerd Circus is the place for nerdy threads, cool tabletop gifts, and more. Go to thenerdcircus.com and check out the cool stuff. Oh yeah, and let them know the TTRPG Insider sent you. Welcome back to TTRPG Insider. I am your host, Rob Southgate. TTRPG Insider is a podcast about tabletop role-playing games and the people who create them. Every episode, I interview someone who's involved in the making of the games that we all love to play. I want to hear their stories about their lives as game makers and, I don't know, what they're doing in their real life, not just a description of the game. You can follow TTRPG Insider on Facebook by searching for TTRPG Insider. I also have a Twitter handle at TTRPG Insider. Shocking, right? I plan to add other social media, but for now, that's the best place. If you want to email me, you can send me an email directly to rob@ttrpginsider.com. This month, we're featuring Cthulhu Dreamt by Action Fiction. They have a Kickstarter campaign running currently through September 8th, 2023. Please support Cthulhu Dreamt, both financially and by sharing it across your social media. You never know who's going to fall in love with this game. So go to Kickstarter and search for Cthulhu Dreamt, or simply click on the link in our show notes today. Today's guest is Jahan Navissi, one of the writers of Cthulhu Dreamt by Action Fiction. Here's Jahan. Hi, Jahan. I'm so happy to talk to you. I've been checking out some of your stuff, so I know we're going to get into that. But first, before we get into the stuff I'm all excited about, why don't you tell the audience who you are, what you do?
Hey there, everybody. I'm Jahan from Fresh Out the Box. I am a TTRPG streamer and a sometimes freelance writer. Been doing it for a few years now and loving it.
That was pretty concise, man. So, okay, you are a streamer. Wait, before we get into that, since the focus this month is Cthulhu Dreamt, you're part of the Cthulhu Dreamt team. So that's why we're on, although we're going to talk about all sorts of other stuff. What did you do on Cthulhu Dreamt?
So Cthulhu Dreamt, I was one of the late joins to the project. I have worked with Action Fiction before as a playtester for one of their board games that's still in the works. They've brought it to a couple cons called Goblin Cave.
Oh, yeah.
I did a lot of that. I did a lot of that. And then I just made friends with them. We got to know each other. I reached out to Jaron because I've been looking into like doing more of a writing kind of thing. And so they brought me in to do some. So they have a Reddit that is designed to be representative of people living in the world of Cthulhu Dreamt as Cthulhu's Awakening. And so I've been writing short stories from the perspective of various Redditors, which it's not a format I'm familiar with, really. I'm not much of a Reddit person, but I've done a couple stories. And they were well received by the people I submitted them to. So it's been real fun. And it's one of those things where whenever the book starts getting written, hopefully they're trying to find a place for me to also write for the book. So
awesome. Awesome. Well, you said like writing, you weren't used to Reddit, but are you a short story writer, a novel writer, or is it really
I used to
strictly
write.
TTRPG?
I used to write a lot, like in high school and like my early 20s. Kind of dropped off, joined the workforce, and like didn't really touch it too much. But TTRPGs always stayed with me. I'm one of those forever GMs, so I come up with a lot of stories. Like I run 3 different games every week, different systems, rotating cast, rotating systems, and so I'm really good. I'm good at the improvisation of that format. Structured writing isn't something that I've done a lot of, and so this is me trying my hand at it. Hope, and I do like it, and I would like to one day maybe be able to consider myself a writer.
Yeah, I mean, really, it just takes practice, And if you're already in there doing something, you're more than halfway there, which is awesome. Your gaming that you're doing when you're running these games, are they all on your channel, or are they all on Fresh Out of the Box?
Pretty much, yeah. Twitch.tv/Jahan. It is we do about 3 streams a week. It's always different games. We try to do Thurstage, which is Age is a system from Green Ronin Publishing that we are brand ambassadors for. We work with them a lot. They're a really good company. We do every other week. We do Modern Age on Fridays, and then we also do miniature painting on Fridays. And then Wednesdays we've been switching it up. Currently, we're running City of Mist, but we've done Savage Worlds, we've done Warhammer Fantasy Role Playing, we've done The Expanse. We used to do a lot more one shots. We would have people come on and run their games for us. That's been really cool. I've gotten to work with some of my heroes of the industry, which is exciting. You never think that you're going to get to meet some of these people. I was a big fan of Changeling in my 20s, and I got to meet one of the creators, Ian Lemke. We're friends now. Like we're buddies, and
very
talking.
Cool.
And I've gotten to play a few of his games. Got to play test Nevermore. He did a 3-shot during Halloween for us. So it's been a good journey. I love the community. We dove in with both feet, and we've been welcomed. So it's been nice.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll say about this. This show has not been out that terribly long. The reason I started it is because as soon as I started talking to the people involved, well, the first game I got involved with on a business side of it was the Black Ballad. And I started talking to people involved in that. And oh my God, like I have loved everyone I've talked to. It's just a great community. And one thing that I'll say, because I'm a business guy too. So I'm always looking at like, how do people break in and all that? And your story is not dissimilar to a lot of the stories because it is such a welcoming community. I've had so many people tell me, oh, I was in their Discord and I was doing this. And then they reached out and said, hey, I like what you're doing. You want to write a novel? Like, what? I mean, it's crazy. But then you look at the content and it's fantastic, And that's something I'm really loving about this. And I think when I was just at GaryCon, and when you go back and you look at, I met a lot of like the original like guys that played with Gary Gygax. You can see it's in the DNA even then. That's just how these guys were, and it's cool. It's a great community.
It is a really good community. Yeah, we started during quarantine. I had recently reconnected with my friend and business partner Gary Avenger. He's the co-host of Fresh Out the Box. And we started doing this because we didn't have anything else to do because we were locked in the house, and it's been great.
Yeah, I think actually COVID was really good for TTRPG. It seems like a lot of people got into it that hadn't been in, or people that were in were like, oh, I can sit down with my friends and play online and I'm still connected, because it is such an intimate, experience.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Making the transition to virtual tabletop was hard for me because being in the room with people is very different. But I don't even notice anymore. It's just like they're there for me now. I've come a long way in that regard. But yeah,
that's awesome. So okay, let's go back in time. when you started. When did you start playing TTRPG? What was your first game?
Yeah, so we had actually initially started like video games and stuff like that, but then me and my buddy, I got the Warhammer Fantasy role playing game, 4th edition rule book. And
you'd never played tabletop before that.
Oh no, when did I start tabletop? I started tabletop. Oh, okay. You want to go way back in time.
I told you, man. Didn't you hear the sound effect? We went back in time.
I didn't go quite far enough. Yeah, so my whole life I've been a fantasy nerd. I'm lucky to have a family that's supportive of that. My mom's super cool. A GM loves his mom. Somebody call somebody, but no, I was always into like the Dark Crystal from a very young age, the Labyrinth, all Jim Henson stuff. I was into the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings animated films.
Oh yeah, man. Me too.
I consumed everything. Even I have the whole box set of the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon because I used to watch it. It's just everything fantasy I consumed. And I guess my mom realized that in one year, it was in junior high. I feel like I was about 11 or 12. She got me the 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons starter set for Christmas. And I brought it, like we were having the Christmas dinner at a friend's house. I took it upstairs with all my little kid friends. And then like I begged my older brother. I was like, hey, you just have to read this. And then we could play the game. And I remember we had to save the unicorn from the goblins. And, its horn had healing power. It was everything. It was everything I ever wanted. Everything I ever wanted and more. And Dungeons and Dragons, I played. I got every single book. We used to hang out at a local place called All the Fun Stuff. We would go there every chance we got, play, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer, all that stuff, but also Dungeons and Dragons. And I really didn't know much beyond that. I didn't really understand most people these days don't really know that there's stuff out there that's not Dungeons and Dragons.
Right. They think everything is based on that. And then you start learning there's all these other systems and really super developed systems that have been around forever. And you're like, oh my God, how did I not know about this? And there's even new ones coming out all the time.
Yeah, there's so many now. The shelf's full of different systems, and yeah, it's just crazy how many there are, and how different they all are from each other. And my Dungeons and Dragons, the thing that brought me out of Dungeons and Dragons is such a different system. World of Darkness, completely ass opposite, just completely. And it brought me into the darker side of things. Up until that point, I had difficulty playing villains and bad guys and going against, doing bad things. Like I had trouble with that way of thinking. I always just wanted to save people. But World of Darkness, there are no heroes, and so it really brought me into the darker side of role play. The macabre, and the horror of it all, and that really stuck with me. Because I almost can't not do it now. Like I'm kind of, all my games always wind up with a tinge of horror or darkness. I get my players really good. Makes
sense that you would be attracted to Cthulhu Dreamt then.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wearing a Cthulhu shirt.
Yeah.
But Cthulhu Dreamt's a really cool project. I'm really excited to be working with it. When it's my first real experience doing this kind of writing. And so they gave me all this information like, hey, this is kind of like setting stuff and rules and how like we're building the world. So to kind of keep you on track, and reading that kind of behind the scenes information about this game was really cool.
Yeah.
What they're building is very interesting to me. They have really good lore staked out. It's very unique. They're really touching on like the science aspect of things,
right?
Which when it comes to Cthulhu and science, like it does go very hand in hand. The thing that really brought that to life for me was the show Lovecraft Country, because they really touched
nobody
on
ever
sci-fi.
Brings that one out. I love that show.
It's one of my absolute favorite things I've ever seen. I can't believe it got canceled.
I can't either. It was so good.
It was so beyond good. Like it was, I had never seen something like that on television. It was so messed up. Just so, I mean, and then the way that they turn, obviously H.P. Lovecraft, horrible, unrepentant racist. But,
right.
But so they turn it on its head, and they make it this story about Black empowerment, and I love it. It's great. It was a masterpiece. It was, I don't know.
I know. I can't believe it was canceled because it's that good.
So
and now Jonathan Majors is like a huge star, and you're like, you had him.
You had him, yeah. You had everything.
You had him, and you had this great writing, and you had this incredible show. What happened? Although it's like Westworld. Westworld got canceled, and they had said we only needed one more season. We were wrapping up, and it's amazing. And then they cancel it. It's like, why would you cancel something that good and precious with one more season to go?
Yeah, I mean,
weird.
Business and art mixing, man. Sometimes it's not good. Because when you're looking for financial value in something that doesn't necessarily have, when it's just the story should be its own reward. You should let people finish their stories.
Yeah, that's a reason we've always been on the outside. Like back in the early 90s, we did zines. We're involved in indie film. It went to podcasting. Like we've always been on that outer fringe where you can create, and you need the commerce to kind of fuel it, but you're not a slave to it, where it's like we finally got something good and now it's only numbers, now it's only we can do what we want. I think that's another reason I'm so attracted to this TTRPG stuff, because unless you're Wizards of the Coast, you don't have to look at those numbers that way. Look at Drive Through RPG. It's just jammed up with homebrew stuff and people with these little companies that are like, hey, if I sell 10, I'm happy, but man, did I create an amazing world or an amazing game, Yeah,
TTRPGs, I mean, as long as they've been around, they're still kind of a fledgling thing because they're just now hitting the mainstream truly.
Yeah.
And people are still doing it because they want to do it, not to get rich. I don't know. That was one of the things that surprised me. I've met so many TTRPG writers, designers. I've met a lot of CEOs, like the head of Modiphius and that kind of thing. None of them did it to get rich. They did it because they love tabletop role-playing games. And and that really surprised me that no one was in it for the money. It's kind of cool. I really appreciate that about this industry.
Yeah, I do too. This is a love fest for TTRPG, I think. So, all right. We talked about your history with it. You love horror. Who are your favorite horror authors?
My favorite horror authors. I mean, I do read some Lovecraft. He's up there for me. I mean, I mostly read fantasy. I just
well, give me your fantasy authors. Who do you love?
So I was a big fan of the William King Slayer series in the Warhammer universe. There's like 15 books, and they're just blood, guts, gore, and horror. And the occasional, love interest. It's good stuff. I started reading those when I was in junior high and continued into my adulthood. Fantasy, also N.K. Jemisin. The Broken Earth trilogy.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
One of the most award-winning trilogies in history. She's great. I love her work. It's so unique. It's so different from the other It's probably the most adult fantasy I've ever read, like the most mature. And it was cool to get to read the tabletop RPG coming out from Green Ronin with her property. Very excited for that one. But yeah, those are the two that come to mind.
Okay. I'll get you off the hook there, but you do love horror. Okay. Let's try horror on movies.
Horror on movies. I'm a big zombie guy.
Yeah.
I love, Romero. I love more recently Train to Busan. I'm very excited. It's not quite zombies, but it scratches the same itch. I'm really excited for Evil Dead Rising.
Oh yeah, man.
Or Rises, yeah, and just all that stuff. I'm not necessarily too much into like super gory, but when it's yeah, there you go, Evil Dead Rise.
I was just at C2E2 and got the poster. I can't wait.
I'm so excited. I'm going to drag my girlfriend to it. It's not really her bag, but I'm going to make her watch that one. More recently, Scream. Scream's been good, but I'm a big creature feature guy. I like
me
that
too,
kind of
man.
Anything with a big monster, I'm obsessed with Tremors. I don't know. I'm obsessed. I love it. Even though the last few were awful, but I still watched them.
Yeah, we call that awesome. They're so bad, but they're still awesome.
Still bad, but still awesome. Yeah, cool to see those storylines conclude. I
remember seeing Tremors in the theater when it first came out, and nobody knew anything about it. But I always liked those B movies, and that my friends and I would always, like Reanimator, we saw in the theater, which was like a defining moment in my childhood, right? And seeing Tremors was kind of one of those too, where we saw it and we were like, I had no idea what this was, and it just like the conversation kept going back to Tremors for years. You talk about things that happen in that. You're out in the desert, you're like, oh, uh-oh. It's awesome. It's awesome. And wasn't that Michael Gross? Was he in the first one?
Michael Gross was in all of them.
Yeah, and then Kevin Bacon was in the first one. Yeah.
Kevin Bacon was only in the first one, and then Fred Ward was in the first two.
Oh, God, I love Fred Ward, too. Yeah, Michael Gross, actually, they should all come back. Kevin Bacon should come back and, like, give us that Tremors, like, reboot, but not.
I heard
one of those legacy pictures, Yeah,
I heard a rumor that he was interested, but, like, of course, he waited until Fred Ward was dead. So, that's a real bummer.
Yeah. Why'd you do that, Kevin? Come on.
Yeah, man. Come on, Kevin. You could have come back earlier. There's no way Reba McEntire's coming back, though. I would be surprised.
Although you don't know. They might go, there's enough of a paycheck. We're doing Tremor Planet. You can come back. She might be like, oh, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah. I would watch Tremor Planet in a heartbeat.
Me too, man. Now that I said it, I'm like,
let's write it together.
TTRPG, and why aren't we doing Tremor Planet?
No.
You land on a planet and accidentally all of a sudden you find out you're on the planet that the Tremors came from.
Just chock full of Precambrian life forms that can't stop changing forms. The planet of metamorphosis. Awesome. It does sound awesome. I'm there with you.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. And, you hit on my zombie shame. I still haven't seen Train to Busan. And I try to see all that kind of stuff. I've started it like 3 times. And each time I started, I'm like, oh, I'm so in. And then I'm like, I don't have enough time to watch the whole thing. Okay, I'll come back to it.
That's a good one. It's definitely worth the watch. I can't. Yeah, I'm a big fan, but I'm also a big fan of Korean movies in general. Another great one, The Host. That's a great.
I was just thinking when you said Korean, The Host is awesome. I remember seeing the short film way before the movie came out, because it was based on this short film, and the short film was like, it's the beginning of the movie basically, but it's dynamite. It was this great, like, wild thing. It's like Mimic. The first Mimic was based on a short film. The short film is better than the movies, but man, what a cool short film.
Yeah. It's. I mean, that movie, it touches on all the tropes. It touches on all the creature feature things, the chemicals in the water, the themes of destroying Mother Earth mutating and fighting back, that kind of thing. But it does it all perfectly. It does it all in this perfect way. But I really enjoy all of Bong Joon-ho's movies because he did one of my favorites, Memory of Murder.
I haven't seen that one. That's a good one, huh?
It's one of my absolute favorite movies. It's about like the first serial killer in Korea. And so like they're trying to communicate with America about like, hey, you guys have these, like, what do we do? And it's just a very interesting it's a very interesting time period and situation. And I really love it.
Yeah, well, that'll go right on my list. Absolutely. So with Tabletop, you said you love horror. What are your favorite horror tabletops?
I kind of make all of them horror on accident. I find that, right? I do. I found that very early, like with the very first one we did on the stream, which was Warhammer Fantasy role playing game. That one lends itself very well to horror because they deal with they have something called corruption, and you can accumulate corruption by being exposed to certain forces or demons or magic. And it allows you to do cool things like you can get rid of corruption by like giving up agency with your character for a round or something, and like the dark ones can act through you. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And you know, I did one of my first big sessions with that game was it was classic, like there's an inn, roadside, raining, the roads are too muddy to travel, so a bunch of travelers start coming off, and one of them is a witch hunter escorting a witch to her execution, trial and execution. And from there, it was just like a whodunit, and I did that whole kind of thing. That was very fun. I also find that The Expanse was very good to horror because they have the proto-molecule, which can kind of create like zombie-like creatures, and so I did like zombies in space.
There's nothing better than zombies in space.
Nothing better. It was everything I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
I've been criticized by some of our viewers. They're like, "Oh, Jahan found a way to put zombies into this one too," and you know, it's something that I enjoy so much.
Zombies are your muse, man. How do you stay away from the thing that lights you up?
Yeah. Also, Shiver is a straight up horror game. It's by design. That one was very fun. We did a 2-shot of that, and yes, it was zombies. I
got a challenge for you.
Yeah.
I want to come on your show and I want to play a game. I want you to get Bunnies and Burrows, and I want you to make a horror version of Bunnies.
I will make a horror of anything.
Do you know that game?
I've heard the words Bunnies and Burrows.
It's a fabulous game. When we first played it, we're like, what are we playing? You know, a bunch of us were going to play it, and this guy's like, I brought it. We're going to play it. You play rabbits, and you play rabbits. There you go. You know, it's not like Rabbit Warriors. No, you have rabbit paws and rabbit ears, and you eat veggies when you can find them. And it's just this game that just draws you in. But when we played it, we made it pretty horrific. We had to murder a weasel, and then like there's no currency because they're rabbits, but we were like, okay, well, there's got to be some type of currency. So we like ripped all of his teeth out, and we're like, that's your currency. And so I'm challenging you to create a horror version of Bunnies and Burrows, and I want to come on. We'll bring Jaron on, and we'll play a horror Bunnies and Burrows if you can put it together. I challenge you. I
feel like I could do that. Yeah, I mean, we could simply play out the obvious horror of being a prey animal. You know, all it takes to turn Bunnies and Burrows into a horror is a single fox. There
you go.
And I think
don't tell me anymore. I want to be surprised. It sounds and please let there be some zombie bunny action going on. This is you. I want you to find a way.
Zombie bunnies just in time for Easter.
Oh yeah. You may have found your niche here.
I may have.
So okay, tell me about your show again. People can find it on Twitch.
Twitch.tv/Jahananon.
And I'll put that in the show notes, so you don't have to know how to spell any of this. We'll put all these links in the show notes plus some. And do you stream on YouTube as well?
Yeah, we simultaneously stream to Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, all at the same time. And then the YouTube, it automatically gets uploaded when we finish the stream. So we have a huge backlog of like over 300 videos. Most of them are like 3 hours long. So there's, you know, almost 1,000 hours of content on that on our YouTube. Because yeah, like I said, we do three streams a week. And we're always trying new systems. We're always trying to work with different companies. We try to work with indie devs. We did a one-shot of a game from Deernicorn Games the other day, which was really interesting. It was a GM-less game where you go across this map and you're pretty much just making choices and role-playing about it. And it was very fun. It was very different from what I'm used to. But that's the kind of thing that you get when you try a bunch of different things. You learn more. I don't know. It gives you I feel like I have a wider range, a wider vision of TTRPGs because of the channel, you know?
I get that.
we like to do a lot of viewer interaction. So if you're watching live on our Twitch, we allow people to name NPCs by spending channel points. You can boon and doom our players, which, sometimes they'll give me a GM power up and I'll just give a monster a new power in the middle of battle. We encourage that kind of interaction.
Yeah.
The names are never good that people come up with. They're always ridiculous, but hey, I'll put them in there. I'll try to make them sound serious too, because like someone made Dr. Whoopee Cushion a thing. So I named him Dr. Whoopee Cushion, and I made him German. And I tried to make it at least somewhat of a serious thing.
Secret power is Schwarz. Farts? Schwarz.
Schwarz. Yes. But yeah, our channels, we love to interact with people. We like to have all different kinds of people on our stream. We do have a group of people that frequent our channel, that will play different games at different times. But we also have new players all the time, old returning players, and we just try to get as much out as we can. We want to show people the non-D&D side of TTRPGs.
Sure. All right. So now you have your marching orders. You need to go check out Fresh Out of the Box on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook, but definitely check them out on Twitch if you can, because you can interact a little bit more there. And where else can people find you?
You can check out our podcast, Fresh Out the Podcast, pretty much anywhere that podcasts are found, Spotify, iTunes. And that is me, Gary, and our friend Drew, where we kind of break our TTRPG format. We talk about movies and video games, that kind of stuff, whatever we're watching, whatever we're doing. You can find me on Twitter at RockFact. Or check us out on Twitch, or and in the links you should be able to find a way to join our community on Discord, where we try to be as active as possible. Yeah, so come say hi, come join our ranks. We do our miniature paintings where we encourage people to come chat with us and share their art, and I'll put it up on the screen, and everybody can go ooh and ah, and it's a good time. We really try to include our viewers, because it's most of the reason why we do what we do, other than the pure love for TTRPGs.
Right. Well, thank you so much for being on. This was really a lot of fun, Jahan. I can't wait to see what happens with Cthulhu Dreamt, and to play a horror version of Bunnies and Burrs with you at some point. And I'm going to be checking out your stuff. I already was. I was watching some of the stuff on Facebook, so I'm really excited. I'm going to have to jump in when you're doing it live, though. That's the one thing I haven't done yet. So thank you again for coming on, and best of luck with Cthulhu Dreamt, and best of luck with your channel.
Hey, thanks for having me, Robert. We can't wait to have you on. And thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for coming on TTRPG Insider, Jahan. It was so much fun to talk to you, and I can't wait to see the other projects you've got on the horizon. If you or anyone you know has a crowdfunding effort about to launch or currently going, send them my way. I can feature their project on this show and on my other show, Go Fund This. I love to share cool TTRPG projects and to help people reach their goals. You can connect with me through the TTRPG Insider Facebook page, or via email directly to rob@ttrpginsider.com. Please rate and review TTRPG Insider wherever you listen to this podcast. It really helps others find the show, which helps spread the word about our amazing guests and their incredible games. TTRPG Insider is a production of Southgate Media Group, hosted, edited, and produced by me, Rob Southgate. Thanks so much for listening to the TTRPG Insider.